Hello and happy day. Have you reminded yourself to slow down today, to reduce the noise, to listen? My name is Igor S.F. Walker, and I'm here to remind people to slow down, to reduce the noise, to walk their lives into a natural flow. Welcome back to the Book of the Week series. Every week, as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. Today, we look at King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, Rediscovering the Archetypes of the Mature Masculine by Robert Moore and Doug Gillette. First, we need to take very seriously the disappearance of the ritual processes for initiating boys into manhood. In traditional societies, there are standard definitions of what makes up what we call the boy psychology and man psychology. We can point to the historical background for the decline of the ritual initiation. The Protestant Reformation and the Enlightenment were strong movements that shared the theme of discrediting of the ritual process. Along with the breakdown of meaningful ritual process for masculine initiation, a second factor seems to be contributing to the disillusion of mature masculinity and identity. This factor, shown to us by one strain of feminine critique, is called patriarchy. Now, patriarchy is not the expression of deep and rooted masculinity, for truly deep and rooted masculinity is not abusive. Patriarchy is the expression of the immature masculine. It is the expression of boy psychology, and in part, the shadow or the crazy side of masculinity. It expresses the stunted masculine fixated at immature levels. Patriarchy truly is an attack on masculinity in its fullness, just as well as femininity in its fullness. According to Carl Jung, there are masculine potentials known as archetypes or primordial images. These archetypes provide the very foundation of our behaviors, our thinking, our feeling, and our characteristic human reactions. In addition, Jungians have found that in every man there is a feminine subpersonality called anima, made up of the feminine archetypes, and in every woman there is a masculine subpersonality called the animus, made up of the masculine archetypes. Now, different archetypes come online at different developmental stages. The first archetype of the immature masculine to power up is the divine child. The precocious child and the Oedipal child are next. The last stage of boyhood is governed by the hero. Human development does not always proceed so neatly. Of course, there are mixtures of the archetypal influences all along the way. Thus, the divine child, modulated and enriched by life experiences, becomes the king. The precocious child becomes the magician, the Oedipal child becomes the lover, and the hero becomes the warrior. The other side of the bipolar shadow of the divine child is the weakling prince. The boy, and later the man, who is possessed by the weakling prince appears to have very little personality, no enthusiasm for life, and very little initiative. His energy comes from envy. The less a man is in touch with his true talents and abilities, the more he will envy others. If we envy a lot, well, we are denying our own realistic greatness, our own divine child. What we need to do then is to get in touch with our own specialness, our own beauty, and our own creativity. Envy blocks creativity. The precocious child is the origin of our curiosity and our adventurous impulses. The hero prepares the boy to become a man. True humility, we believe, consists of two things. The first is knowing our limitations, and the second is getting the help we need. There's a saying in psychology that we have to take responsibility for what we are not responsible for. What this means is that we are not responsible, as no infant is, for what happened to us to stunt us and to fixate us in our early years when our personalities were formed and when we got stuck at immature levels of masculinity. Ours is a psychological age rather than an institutional one. What used to be done by institutional structure and through ritual process, we now have to do inside ourselves, for ourselves. Ours is a culture of the individual rather than the collective. This book is helping men to take responsibility for the destructiveness of immature forms of masculinity. And at the same time, it is clear that the world is overpopulated with not only immature men, but also tyrannical and abusive little girls pretending to be women. The enemy of both sexes is not the other sex, but infantile grandiosity and the splitting of the self that results from it. Any transformative process, like life itself, takes time and effort. We do our homework from the conscious side, and the unconscious, with its powerful resources, when approached in the right way, will respond to our questions, our needs, and our woundedness in healing and generative ways. If you have enjoyed this video, please do like it, share it with the world, subscribe to my channel, and you can get a direct link to this book in the description below. So get it and read. Thank you. Love and respect.